Hey, I'm going to try to put a video up real quick on my adventures of trying to find a rock saw for cheap. Because if you're like me, you might use one once in a blue moon. And a typical 10-inch rock saw is probably $1,000, a little bit less, maybe more, depending on all the goodies you get with it. And there's no way I could justify attempting to spend that kind of money on it. So what I did is went on Craigslist and just typed in saw. And you browse around, you wouldn't believe how many older table saws there are. Now, I suppose you could use a direct drive table saw, but what would happen is you got all your electronics right up under there. You'd really have a fun time trying to seal that motor up. And these old saws, like this one, which was made in around probably early 50s, this is belt driven. You got the motor hanging out the back. So you could pretty much get the electronics away from the blade and the water. So that's the first step. And then inside, up in there, these are very heavy duty bearings. I packed some grease in there. It's got a nice chute to drop the water down. So what I'm going to attempt to do is, on a tight budget, seal this up and turn this into a rock saw real quick. And I paid a total of $50 for this whole thing in this old wooden stand, so I don't have a lot of investment into it. I did go out and purchase a continuous rim diamond blade from Menards for $40. So I'm going to show you what I did to turn this into a saw. And keep in mind, budget. I don't want to stick hardly anything into it, so let me get the camera set up and I'm going to show you what I was doing. Number one, just put a little catch tray on the bottom, a little tub that I had laying around. Water will drop out into that. I cut in top off from a tote and cut some slots in it so I can keep the water from maybe possibly splashing out in the motor. Took a regular neodymium magnet, stuck it on. That seals that up quite well. You can see there. Take another old top off from a tote or a piece of plastic and more magnets. That way you got guaranteed no water splashing over the back into the motor area. And keep in mind, I'm making this so I can rip it apart and also use this as a metal cutting saw for sheet metal and everything else, so I don't want to make it too permanent for a rock saw. Throw another plastic sheet up along the side. Same thing, magnets. Just for good measure, take another magnet. I cut a 1-gallon jug. That way no water can actually splash down onto the switch in any way or form. And I sawed down the slide, cut the end off, so you can push it up farther without hitting the back. We'll be using that. Now a person can pretty much use anything to get water to drop on top of that blade. But what I'm using here is an old 10-horse generator frame where the motor burned up in it. And this is a 5-gallon jug where I just put water in it and turn my on and off valve to drop water down onto that blade. Versus throwing this thing away, figured it'd be a good idea to use it for this. So, like I said, you could use pretty much anything. You could build a little frame to where you could take a garden hose and have a little bit of water coming out. It doesn't take a lot of water, a lot less than what people think. But one of the big things is if you have some kind of container to drop water on, putting a little bit of dish soap in there really helps with lubricating and adding surfactants to the water to where it won't roll off anything. It'll blend right in with that blade and keep it well lubed and cooled. So that's the setup I'm going with. Now you couldn't really probably do this in a basement or something, but out in a shed or making this thing portable, if I put this on wheels, can roll it outside and work on it anytime as long as it isn't freezing out. So it's going to throw some water. I haven't developed any kind of shield here, but it ain't too bad. You can stand to the side and push a rock through. So let's get set up and I'm going to try her out. Starters, this here's a beautiful quartzite rock that I found out in the field, or in the woods actually. I want to cut down the sides of it, make it more square, probably this side here. And I'm going to get it set up, turn everything on, and we'll see if we can't shade this thing off. Pretty quiet. Just cut probably 9-inch long rock, couple inches high, sliced clean through, and got what I was wanting. Nice flat edge. Didn't do too bad at all. Could have went a little more, but that's fine. Pretty neat. Let's do some more cutting quick. Maybe this side, I don't know. Might just leave this one like this. Hit the top here. You know what? I'm going to hit this side flat. Let's do that, huh? Took that side, got here. Now I'll try doing that one, square it up a little. Pretty neat. Here's the cuttings. First could almost slice through them if they wanted. Set that rock either way, like that, like that. Set it like that. Come out pretty good, I think. Like I said, you do tend to get a little bit of a splash on you, but entire motor area dry as a bone. Look at that. Switch area dry. What doesn't go down into the tub does run and drop right there, so no worries. No worries at all. Like I said, you go on Craigslist, just type in saw, find an old Craftsman belt driven, you're in business. Now I can pull all this stuff off, put a metal blade on there, and basically got myself a nice metal cutting saw as well. Kind of hard to go wrong. I'm going to try to cut this down here. I already had sliced this off. I'm going to hit right through here and just see how it goes. Well, it wasn't like a huge cut, but this is like damn near granite. Sliced through pretty good. Probably clean that hole up. There'll be some quartzite in there. Might attempt to hit this side now. See what happens. So it does work quite well using this table saw. As you saw there, table saw does work as long as you got a belt drive and you can get the electrical components out of the way. And it will cut pretty decent, actually. Rocks. It'd be hard to cut the bigger ones. I was having a hell of a time, but slices through pretty good. Enough to where you can form like a ledge for it to sit on, like so. I did get through this one here. So the thicker pieces are kind of hard, but I mean, you're talking a solid 2.5 inch is by about 7. Get this one all cleaned up and see how it goes. One thing you got to watch for is, like I said, anything electrical on it, wear safety glasses, use precautions, but it does work, and it does work quite well. Rock saw on the cheap.